Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. It has been a while, and you're going to notice on the screen there's some different upgrades than there were in the past. Some of these aren't necessarily upgrades, but they're changes. I've installed LunarVim for now to kind of use as my editor for non-work stuff. I'm still in VS Code for work stuff with like a Vim extension, but I wanted to play around with LunarVim, so I've installed that. You've noticed this channel has been a lot of React, JavaScript in the past. It still will be, but there's also going to be some C++. And the reason I'm choosing C++ is that I want to be able to go as low as I want with embedded stuff, but with like C++ 20 and 23 coming out, I mean, it's as easy to write as like Java or C Sharp, it almost seems, at least for these smaller applications. I've already made one decent sized application I want to show you today, and I've been going through, you're going to see this says Pi Native, but these are actually me looking at the Pi Native problems and solving them in C++. Again, I'm brand new to C++, so if there is things that you see that look weird or odd, just let me know in the comments and I'll try and fix those. I'm also thinking about starting up a channel where I do reactions and kind of tell you my story of how I became a developer and how I got to the point of where I am now, which is being a developer for a very large firm. So if you're interested in kind of that self-taught story, let me know in the comments, and I'll make that channel. I'll do some reactions on the other channel, and I'll do some kind of stories about how I got to where I am. Again, I'm not an expert. I'm probably like a better junior developer, a decent junior developer is what I'd say. But yeah, let's look into some of the C Sharp stuff and see what I've done. So let's start with where I started in the Pi Native basic problems, C++. If I said C Sharp, ignore me. I've just too many C's in my head. So let's get into this. Let's check in here. And you're going to see in here I have a couple different things going on. I have scripts, utilities, and I have all these different things that I solved. I started with this hello world, and you'll see this is just the basic hello world in C++. Nothing too much to see there. Let's quit out of that. Whoops, my mistake. And then let's go. Still learning LunarVim and Vim, just getting used to the controls, so bear with me on those if I'm in and out a lot. Then I went to the Pi Native problems, and I thought, well, I can solve some of these with Pi Native. And actually what came out of this is a program where I generate my own .h files, so I don't have to manually create them every time, because I thought, forget that, I'm not doing that. I want something to manually do it. And I don't want to use a build tool, I want to automate everything myself. That's something else I was looking into, is I want to create maybe some automation tools and different things that I can give away for free, the small stuff, and potentially kind of make a small business out of with the bigger automation tools once I get the hang of it. But for now, I'm just experimenting and playing around with it. Anyways, let's get into the Pi Native basic problems here, and let's go down to, let's find one. You'll see here there's some different, what is this? No member named Max. Okay, these are news to me, but this did run, so I don't know if it still runs, but anyways, the idea is we get input from a user. In this case, I have my getInt function, and if it fails, this is something new that I've learned in C++, is you have to, what's the word? There's like a stream that's going on, or like a buffer, and you have to clear any errors that happen on that buffer, and then you have to ignore everything else until the user hit enter on a new line. So for example, if you're looking for an int and the user puts in a string, and that's going to throw an error, and you're going to go into this while cn.fail function. And up here, I'm not using namespace std, I'm specifically pulling in the things that I want to use. That way I don't have to type std in every time, but I'm not using all of std in the namespace. So, go down here. While it fails, I think, and again, I'm just learning this, but I think you have to clear the error from the buffer, ignore everything up until they hit enter, which is the maximum limit. Again, don't know why there's an X here, it was running before. We'll maybe check this and see if it works. And then, so that's what this getInt function is. It just gets an integer. Then I run this down here, and the problem was just like, if it's bigger than 1000, add them. If it's not, multiply them. Just standard number problem. And down here is my main function where I spit out the outputs, and I have this little ternary going on down here. Funny enough, that looks just like JavaScript, the ternary function. There's also something I discovered, and let's see what this does, if anything, at the moment. What is it? This. If I say, oh, you can't see that because it's at the bottom of the screen. Let me pull this up a bit. Here we go. Yeah, so down at the bottom left of the screen, you'll see if I do, like, I installed Clang format. So I think if I say Clang format dash I, and then I have to do the file path. So dev pynative basic pynative basic problems 1 of 15. Yeah, and if I hit enter on that, and then I hit enter again, okay, and that should format this file. Let's see if it looks any different. Not really. I thought it might. Okay, let's see what this error is about real quick, and then I'll keep going and show you what else I've gotten into with C++. So let's quit this. Let's see if this still runs. Oops, you know what? Let's go back into that a second. And I'm going to go over to this other one because it's easier to get to from here. I have LunarVim installed, but not necessarily on the right path. I'm still trying to figure that out. So I have to run LunarVim from my home folder. And then I have this other tab, and I just alternate with Alt and the number buttons on Ubuntu. And the terminal changes. This terminal is much smaller, and you can't see it. So let's do this and increase the terminal size until you can't see it. Bingo, we're in business. Okay, and then cd pynative basic problems. Let's see if our first program runs. Let's do like 30 and 40. That should add them. 30 times 40 is 1200. Yeah, okay, so it runs, but I'm confused now. Let's look at the thing again. I should have put in the problem descriptions. I just kind of did them. Let's see. If the number times the number is less than 1000 or equal to 1000, return num1 times num2, else return num1 plus num2. Right. That's interesting. Let's compile it. See what happens. I'm also writing a program soon to automate this bit here. So if I want to compile this, I can use G++ or I have Clang++ installed. Sometimes I run both if it's a bigger script to make sure I'm meeting all the functionality that I want. So I'll say G++. I want to output to a file called 1, and this is just how I've been doing it for now. And I'll say 1 of 15, and then I want to add in all W, extra, W. I want all my warnings to be errors. So this is warnings all. I want extra warnings, warnings errors, and warnings. I heard pedantic gives false positives sometimes, but I use that anyways. And then I specify the standard that I want. Again, this is why I'm going to automate it so I don't have to type all this every time. But for now, I do. And I'm going to say C++, 2. I think I usually use A because one of them is okay with C++20 and the other's not, and this 2A seems to work. So let's go with that. It compiles fine. Let's run it. Let's do 3, 4. 3 times 4 is 12. Great. Let's run it again with bigger numbers. 200. Oh, that's way more than 200. 2000. That's fine. 2009 plus 300. Okay, good. It added them. So I think it's if the result is greater, right? So now let's run it with 50 and 50. 50 times 50 equals 2500. Why am I getting that? Let's find that out, and then I'll continue on and show you the other stuff I've done. So let's see. First number, get in. Second number, get in. Fine. Get result of num1 times num2. You can't see this down here. I gotta figure out how to get the screen. It's been a while since I've recorded. This will work for now. Coffee. Consider this like a mini live stream that's recorded, I guess. I'm gonna keep this channel for my more what I consider hardcore tech stuff, or stuff that I'm working on that involves just coding. Again, I want to do that other channel with React videos and reaction videos and just kind of stories about my dev journey. But this one I'm gonna keep like full on code. But anyways, let's see what we can figure out here. get result num1 num2. If it's less than or equal to 1000, then see out num1 num2 num1 times num2. I have to refresh over here. 1 second. Okay. Num1 times num2, else num1 plus num2. That looks right. Why am I doing it this way though? That's weird. That's weird that I've done it this way, right? Because I don't need get result then. Yeah, I don't need this. I don't know why I did that way. Let's delete this. Delete that. Yeah, I know this is undefined, so let's change this word. Actually, I just need to delete this stuff. So let's delete that and say if num1 times num2 is less than or equal to 1000, then return num1 times num2, else num1 plus num2. That should do it. So let's save this. I've also noticed my screen's backwards, like I'm looking this way and my code's over here, but I'm not. It's just mirrored backwards. But anyways, that works for now. So let's save that and let's try and run it and see what the diff is here. So we're compiling it and then we have to run our program. Let's do 50, 60. Okay, there we go. 50 plus 60 is 110. We want to do just below the threshold now. So 10 and 100 should give us exactly 1000, which should multiply them. Good. And if I do run it again and say 10 and 11, no, sorry, not 10 and 11, 10, 11 and 100, there we go. Then it adds them, right? So now it's working properly. I guess I had a bug before, and you'll notice that, where's my mouse? There it is. I don't have to recompile every time. I only had to compile that first time, and then the program just sits in here, and it's just called 1, and then I can run it. It's like just a program that runs. So I just // and run the program. All right, that's the first one. Now we're gonna speed up, just kind of get you in the flow of this stuff. Do I quit out of this? No, that takes me back to there. Okay, that's fine. Go back into here. Let's look at number 2. What was this? I really need to add descriptions. Okay, it just prints numbers in a range of 1 to 10 is what's happening here. So it runs, blah, 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 and it prints numbers in a range of 1 to 10. Let me show you what that looks like. So I created this, and it checks the previous number and the current number, runs it. Not too much to that one. So let's get out of there, and this is going to get annoying. So I'm going to have to find another way to get into these, but let's go to 3. What was this one? Okay, again, I have this get input function. So you're going to see this gets tedious real fast. And what I've done is, this is where I've created a utils file that I include. And I will show you that in just a second. Okay, I don't know why that's doing that. So I'll show you that in just a second, but for now, let's just take a look at this. So this time I'm getting an input of a string. This was kind of my first go at this. std getLine returns a result, which I can cast to a boolean, and depending on if I get a result or not, I break, and if not, I ask them to re-enter their string. Okay, so this one's looking like it is what I've done here. Again, I need to either comment my code or just put the description of what I've done because I've already forgotten. But it prints even chars. So you put in a string and it prints the chars that are on the even indexes, I believe. Oh yeah, here we go. Printing only even index chars. So let's do that. Let's check it out. I've already compiled this, right? I've created this, so I just enter it, and let's say catfish, I say dogfish. I don't know why I use that all the time, but I should get only the even characters. And I do, right? So 0 modulo 2, right, is fine. So I get D, and then we skip 1, we get 2, which is G, etc. Cool. Put out of that, play this game again. And now we want to go to 4. Oh, there's no shortcut there. Alright, so I'm gonna try and I want to show you all these just because like I put a lot of effort into them, but I don't want to type them out all by hand on this video. That gets tedious for me. So I like to create this stuff and then show you what I've done. And again, kind of the big thing that came out of this is the HMake file, and I'll show you that in a separate video, but I'll give you a glance of it in this video, right? So here we go. We have this, let's see what this one does. Your shortened phrase, so it shortens my phrase. Okay, I remember this. So a user enters a number and a string. And here I'm already using this utils function because I got tired of creating it. So I guess now's a good time to show you that utils function. And I'm using that down here as an input string to get a string from a user, and while it errors, it just repeats the question to enter string. So let's check that out, and then the user enters a number. You'll notice I don't have that in my utils yet, but I will eventually. This is kind of my evolution of C++ so far, right? So I started with this string in the utils, and then I have this number function. Input a string, input a number of characters to shorten it by, and then it outputs the shortened item. So let's say 4, let's try it. Dog, fish, I want to shorten it by, enter a number of characters to remove from the beginning of phrase. Let's remove 3 so we just get fish. Perfect, your shortened phrase is fish. Cool. So that's what that does. Let's look at the utils function. I'm interested to see that. So let's go into PyNative, utils. I have this utils.cpp, utils.h. The utils.h is what gets generated from the utils.cpp. C++ and C use these header files, whereas newer languages like Go and things like that, they just import automatically. You don't need header files. But let's show you this. So this is my initial utils function. You notice you have to include the utils.h once you have it. But for now, I'll just show you here. It's just 2 functions. I have this input int. Again, I didn't have this when I did that number 4 problem, but it is here now, and you'll see that used later on. So I have this input int function, and I have this input string function. Could I create a generic one for all inputs? Probably. Am I there yet with C++? No. So individual functions is, and it's just easier to remember for me right now. So I have input string, input int. You'll notice there's no main function here. Don't need a main function for this. What I do is I just say g++-c to compile it, and then I give the file name and the warnings that I want, and it compiles this. And now that doesn't create the .h file, but it makes sure that this file is okay to use, in my understanding. And then what I do is I create there's no compilation errors in this file. And then I have to either manually create the .h file or make it with my HMake program, which I've created. So let me show you that. Let's first look at the .h file. So let's go in here and go down to here and utils.h. Yeah, and you'll see this is the .h file that's here right now. Include string, pragma once. And again, I don't necessarily, I'm not a huge knower yet of what pragma wants and all these do. My thought is, and my understanding is that this makes sure that it doesn't get included more than once in specific areas, so we don't accidentally include it multiple times and increase compile time and error causes and things like that. So that's why this stuff is here. The comment is just the name of the file that I've added. That's kind of the format I went for. And then I need my 2 function names in here. So input int and input string. And basically, what do they output? And if there's any arguments, they go inside these parentheses. And then down here, I end the if, and that's it for this file. And I've created a program to generate this file from the other one. So my program reads the C++ file, and then it auto-generates this file with including include statements, everything. It's all here. It does it for me. I just want to show you a quick visual on what that looks like. This one's actually in a different spot. It's in my automation folder. Let's see. I have dummy data and HMake. It's in HMake. I know there's a program called CMake. I just wanted to call this one HMake. It just made sense to me. That's my binary here. So this is my program. This was my practice file that got generated from my HMake file. Let me show you a little bit of this. So you'll notice more includes here. Header algorithm is not used directly. That's fine. I might delete that in a bit. But for now, like you'll see, these are my include statements. Again, this might not be the best way to do this necessarily, but I've created an array of types that I use at the moment. Not appropriately named string types, but just the idea that they're all strings and they're different types. There's a bunch that I need to include here eventually, but for my HMake purposes, when I generate HMake files, this is all I'm really using for now. So this is all I need. Why is my J and K backwards? There we go. So these are the types that I have, and then I have a map builder here where I kind of make a map of what to include. I'll show you what that does in a second. Let's go down to our main program here. Still learning controls, so I have to do one of these. Here we go, main. It takes in, this time I'm getting input from the user. They input it into the terminal along with the program name, so it's like program name, input. And this argc, and again, I'm just trying to explain this to the best of my knowledge. I'm not a C++ expert yet. This is the count of arguments that come in, get passed in when we run the file, and that includes the file name. So if there are no arguments, this would be 1. If there is one argument, this would be 2, etc. This pointer, or this array of, this is going to be an array of strings. So here we go. So it's to make a string in C++, you need an array of char, and then I'm just trying to make sure I say this right, and I might not still, just let me know in the comments, it's fine. I make an array of char, and then I believe the pointers here, in order, I don't know why the pointer's there, but this is what I have to enter to get the arguments, right? So this will be the array of arguments that come in. And then what we have here is the first argument is going to be, well, this is the second argument because it starts with an index of 1. But anyways, the second argument is the file name that I want to run. So let's say utils.cpp. The first argument is this file. It's the program name, so hmake. And that's what I'm checking here. I'm checking to see, why do I have argv0 there? That's interesting. But this check args checks to make sure that there's 2 arguments in. Oh, I'm passing this in as part of the error message, is why that's there. But what we really want to focus on is this argc. This argc is why am I doing that? Still learning Vim controls. This argc tells us the count of arguments to put in, and it has to be 2. If it's not 2, we don't want it. So let's go to the definition. I think it's GD. Yeah, perfect. So, and then maybe G capital D will take us to the declaration. So I take in the arg count. If there's not, then I put an error message and I exit the program, because this has to take exactly one. This has to take exactly 1 argument. And remember, it's 2 because the first one is the actual program name and the second one is the argument. Let's see if we can do go to declaration. No. All right, that's fine. Check args. Okay, perfect. We want that one. All right, so we check the args. Good. Then we create a file that allows us to read from it, which is this if stream. I'm not quite sure why it's named that yet. That's fine. And then I want to check to make sure the file's open. Again, that's an error check, so I have that here. I'm passing in a reference to the file. If I try to pass in the actual file, it yells at me. It's like, hey, you can't do that, so I pass in a reference to the file. And if the file's not open, then, this is a lot of information, isn't it, for this video? Let's just say that, let me just show you the gist of it, and then I'll keep going. Yeah, so this is the kind of meat and potatoes of it, where I write to the H file. I read from the file, and then I write to the file, or to a new file that's a .h file. So this is the new file here. I get the pragma once. I have this include string, and that's generated up further on the page, where it reads the file line by line. It gets the things that I need to hashtag includes, pound sign includes, and etc. And then I have this is where the comment with the file name comes, the if def and define, or if not defined and define, if and def, right? And then this func declaration string is going to be a bunch of new lines with my function methods. Just do that with my function methods. underneath, and that's how we're generating these H files with an end if there at the end. So anyways, that's how I'm generating these H files. Let's go back into the PyNative stuff because that's going to get real fast. Again, you can see there's a ton of problems here. I'm not going to go through all those, I don't think, right now either. Just kind of wanted to introduce you to what I'm doing. These problems I'll probably push to GitHub at some point if you want to look through them and see what I've done. Cool. If not, that's okay too. What I'm thinking is I'm not going to push the source code for HMake yet because I might want to turn that into, it might be free, it might not be free. I'm not sure what I want to do with that. But that one was a much bigger accomplishment for me. These are just practice problems, so I'll push these and I want everybody to be able to see these. Let's see, so I have that file, right? And then you'll notice I have a bunch of other files as well. That was just the PyNative basic problems. There's loop exercises. What I've done with these other folders is I've only done the ones that were interesting to me or challenging to me after I did the basic problems because a lot of them were repeats. I just kind of skipped around and picked the ones that I wanted. The last one I worked on was string exercises, I believe. Yeah, you'll notice here I skipped 2 because 2 looked boring. It was something that just like was easy to do, and I had no point typing all that out. Let's go to my most recent one and see what's up with this. Oh, this one was interesting. Yeah, so let's look at this one yet, and then I think we'll call it for this video. So we have. Here you'll notice I started to use the map function, which I think was available in C++ 11 onwards, they said. And that is, if you're used to Go or something like that, it's a map where you can have a specific type for the key, a specific type for the value. It's kind of like your objects in JavaScript, except the types have to be the same for all the values, and I believe the same for all the keys. Now the key and the value types can be different, and you'll see that in this in this section here. I include the stuff that I need from the includes library, so I don't have to keep typing over and over. Let's go down to main. This one's really short. So I'm given a string. In this case, it was this PyNative string with a bunch of symbols and digits in. And I want to get the counts of how many characters there are, how many digits there are, and how many symbols there are. Each separate counts within this particular string. So what I've done here, in the end, you'll see I create a map. This auto is just so I didn't type out all this again. You can't use auto in these declarations, by the way. You can only use auto inside the functions themselves, which is nice. Makes for more readability and a sane use of auto, because you don't want personally I don't want to auto everything. I think that looks bad and it's hard to understand. So anyways, used auto here. These counts is this map of values, which we'll see up above in just a second. But the end goal is I loop through and I can destructure the map right within the for loop. Thank you, modern C++. For each key and count in counts, I print out the key and the count. And let's see how we implement that up here, right? So this returns a map of string keys. Yeah, that didn't work. A map of string keys and int values. And this is the getCounts function right here. And it takes one argument, this S1 string from down below. And I could have named this S1 anything I wanted up here. It would still work. So let's look here. I didn't see in JavaScript and Go, you can create a map and declare it when you create it. But in C++, I didn't see a way to do that yet. So what I did is I have this map of strings and ints, and I call it counts, and then I have to insert the things that I want to insert into my map. And there's this counts.insert function for this, or map.insert function. So what I do is I insert a mini object of each thing that I want. In this case, chars is my key, 0 is my value, digits is my key, 0 is my value, symbols is my key, oops, oh no, that's bad, 0 is my value. And then what I do, once I have this map established with these 3 key value pairs, I go down here and I loop through the string that I pass in, right? So I pass in this crazy looking PyNative string here, and I say for each character in the string, the standard library, thankfully, has this is alpha, is digit, options, and it also has is alpha num, I believe. So is it alpha numeric? Is it a letter or a digit? But I didn't end up using that one just because of the scope of this problem. But ideally, I would have probably an else if here with that statement, because else could be anything. It might not be any of the above. But anyways, if it's an alpha, if it's in the alphabet, if it's a letter, I want to add one to the, oh my gosh, what am I doing? Add one to the chars count. If it's a digit, I want to add one to the digits count. And else, it's a symbol, or ideally you probably want to say else if and check for if it's not alphanumeric. But else, it's a symbol in our case, and we add one to the symbols count. And then I just return the counts. And the counts are this map of string int. Down here we get that. Again, this could be rewritten as map of string int like this, just for clarity. I chose not to do that though, I just chose auto here. And then I loop, yep, that's fine. I loop through that map and I print out the value. So let's see that in action. What was that one? String. 5 of 15, yeah, so I think I've already compiled this. Let's see. Yeah, and the PyNative string contains 8 chars, 3 digits, and 4 symbols. And if we go back and look at the code, if you want to count them, you can, but yeah, there's the easiest ones to count the digits. 1, 2, 3, symbols 1, 2, 3, 4, which means the rest are letters, and I think there was 8 for letters, right? Yeah, math. Okay, good. Yeah, so that's what I've been doing. That's what I've been up to. I know it's been a while, and this was kind of ad hoc put together here, but in the future I'll have some more videos on JavaScript, React, more C++ stuff. Again, all coding on this channel. I want to keep it very coding focused and less reacty and not reacty, less reaction videos and that kind of thing. Not that I have before, it's been mainly code, but I want to keep it that way. I think there's a gap in the kind of market right now, so to speak. There's a lot of influencers doing, reaction videos and basic videos like I've just did in the past, where I made a basic series on Go. And CoffeeScript, I made another one on that. You can check those out if you want. But, I think there's a lot of that out there, but there's not a lot of more in-depth value, substance coding sessions out there. And I want to be able to bring that to you all and hopefully give a little inspiration, some ideas, maybe get inspiration from you as well, and make it useful, I think, for everyone. I just get so tired of like the day in the life videos and things like that. Nothing wrong with them, don't get me wrong. I think this channel should be specifically focused on providing good quality, free, educational content and keeping you updated on my coding adventures. That being said, I will create probably a channel where I do reactions to videos, things like that, and I just have a good time, and it's going to be a little more influencery and what's the word? Not really influencery. You can see I don't have the appearance of influencer, but it'll be a little more reaction-y, a little more story-ish, so it'll probably generate quite a bit of traction, but at the same time I want to keep this one very code focused, very code heavy, because I think there's a niche in the market for that. So expect a lot more videos here in the near future, and eventually once I create my other channel I will add that as well, but for now, and even when I create the other channel, I'll mainly be, I think, on this one when I have big coding updates like today, where you saw I have just a ton of problems that I started working on C++. I've also been working on some cloud stuff with AWS, and maybe I'll bring that up in a different video and talk about my progress there, or maybe that'll be on the story channel where I talk about that. Don't know. Anyways, thanks for watching. See you in the next one.